Hey guys, welcome to my channel. We are reading K.R. Alexander, Last Laugh by Scholastic. I did get permission from Scholastic to read this. We are on page 101 and chapter 22. So, here we go. Chapter 22. Another clown is in my locker at the end of the day. I nearly screamed out when I opened the door and see it sitting inside, staring out at me with a grin. This one is entirely made out of glass with bulbous eyes and a too large smile. It's also pointing straight at me. "What do you want?" I whisper. "Talking to yourself again?" I slam my locker shut and turn to see Sarah. "What are you doing here?" I ask. "She is in high school." "I got out early," she replies, "and I figured I'd pick you up after yesterday." Her usual grin slides into a real concern. "How are you doing anyways?" "I'm fine," I reply. I look at my feet. I'm acutely aware of the clown doll in my locker. "Are you sure?" "I know you didn't sleep last night. I saw your light on." I shrug. Do I tell her? I look around. A lump forms in my throat. "You won't believe me," I say. "Victor," she says, her voice dropping into that soothing tone she only pulls out on occasion. "I'm your big sister. I know we joke a lot, but I'm here for you, okay? You can tell me everything. I must be tired or desperate or scared, or all three, because tears start to form in my eyes. It's clowns," I whisper. I look at her briefly and see her tense up. "What?" I take a deep breath and, as quickly as possible, blurt out, "Grandma had a bunch of clown dolls in her bedroom, and I took one out to try to scare you. But it disappeared, and now all of the dolls are out of her room and are following me, and I don't know why, but I think they want to hurt me, and that's why Grandma is sick. And, well, there's one in my locker right now." She doesn't say anything. Seconds creep past, and I'm worried she's about to call the school nurse or something. "Here," I say, "look." I pull open my locker. I watch her expression. Her face doesn't twist into shock or fear. Instead, she stares past my shoulder with a worried look that quickly turns into anger. "That's a really bad joke," she says. "On second thought, you can take the bus home. I'm going to find Genevieve." "Sarah, wait. It isn't a joke. I didn't put it there." She's already walking down the hall, but she does look back just once to say, "There's nothing there, Victor." I turn to look back at my locker. She's right. The clown is gone. As is my hope of getting her to believe me. I let out a huge frustration sigh, open the locker fully so I can rest my forehead on the door. That's when I see it, the scratchy writing on the inside of my locker as the exact spot where the clown had been pointing. Soon. Chapter 23. They follow me the entire way home. I am too anxious to sit on a bus, so I walk the entire way home. A large clown mariachi dangles from the streetlights. A dozen ceramic clowns figurines in a shop window turning their heads as I pass. The stuffed bear with clown makeup peers out from beneath the bushes. I see them, but no one else does. That's the problem. I'm starting to wonder if they're really there at all. I get home to find Genevieve and Sarah already there. Genevieve is doing her homework at the table and Sarah is on her phone. The moment Sarah sees me, she makes a noise of disgust and leaves for her bedroom. "What did you do?" Genevieve asks the moment Sarah is gone. "Why do you automatically assume it's my fault?" She just raises an eyebrow. "Fine. I admit it. I told her about the clowns. I had one trapped in my locker, but when I tried to show her, it was gone. She thinks I'm pulling a prank on her. Well, you were. That's what started this whole mess." I glare at her. I hate that she's right. I sigh and sit down next to her rather than trying to fight her logic. "Any word about Grandma?" "She's better," Genevieve says, but apparently in a really heavy sleep or something. The doctors don't know what's going on. I just wish I could talk to her, I say. She has to know what to do. Genevieve just nods. There isn't much to say after that, so I go and grab some cereal from the cupboard. Gareth should be over before dinner, but I'm starving. No breakfast or lunch isn't a good combination, apparently. I pulled down a bowl and began to fill it with cereal, staring at my phone in a daze. Then I hear something clink against the ceramic bowl and look over to see a tiny porcelain clown figurine in a checkered suit smiling up at me from the cereal. I yelp, and before I could turn away or let out fear get the better of me, I grab the figurine. It is desperately hot in my hand. Genevieve, I call out, look, I got one. She hurried in and peers over my shoulder. I open my hand to reveal a tiny figurine. You're sure it's not just a toy that comes in the cereal box, she asks. I hear they used to do that, you know. When's the last time your cereal came with a toy? I bristle. No, this is the one of her figurines. I know it is. She peers closer. It doesn't look too scary to me, she says. Yeah, well, that's because they aren't following you around, I say. Before she can say anything else, that terrible voice from before booms through my ears. For now. The voice shocks me so much that I drop the figurine in the ground, but it doesn't shatter like a delicate ceramic figurine should. No, it ricochets across the floor and disappears beneath the fridge. I don't go after it. Did you hear that? I whisper. Hear what? The voice, I reply. Genevieve looks at me concerned. I didn't hear anything. I look in the space beneath the fridge, but you saw that, right? You saw the clown? Of course I did, she replies. She looks at me closely. Are you feeling okay? I'm fine, I reply. I leave the cereal on the counter. I'm not hungry anymore. Before she can ask me anything, if I'm feeling okay, I leave. I don't bother trying to grab the figurine from under the fridge. I know without the doubt that it's already gone. Chapter 24. Dinner that night is super awkward. Gareth is over under the pretense of working on the school project together, which is great, but also difficult because Dad keeps asking details about the project and Gareth keeps making them up on the spot. Genevieve isn't saying anything because she's really bad at lying, and Sarah isn't speaking because she's still angry at me and thinks I'm trying to prank her, which basically means Gareth is the only one talking through dinner. And by the time we get back to my bedroom alive, I apologize profusely. I am so sorry, I say. If I had known he was going to ask so many questions, don't worry about it, Gareth says. He flops down on my beanbag and grabs the controller. On the plus side, if we ever do a presentation on hybridization of feed corn, we've got it in the bag. Sounds thrilling, I reply. I hope that day never comes. We can only hope, he says. Come on. Let's play before my brain melts any further. I nod and I grab some pillows from my bed. Hiding beneath them are 7 small ceramic clowns, each a different color of a rainbow, but each of them with sharp teeth in their red grins. I yell out and stumble back, knocking into Gareth. Whoa, he says. What's going on? Then he looks to where I'm pointing. His eyes go wide. I take it you didn't hide those there? I shake my head. He stares at them for a while. Then he gets out of the beanbag chair and walks over. Wait, what are you doing? I ask. He picks up the nearest doll, the purple one, and turns it about his hand. You're sure these are from your grandma's? He asks. Positive. Well, let's be rational. It could be Sarah, but no. Just hear me out. She hates clowns, but she knows that you know she hates them. So she'd be the last person you'd ever suspect. You said you believed me. I do. I am also trying to think logically, just for the sake of argument. You said when you went to your grandma's, these were all gone, right? Well, what if she went in and took everything that shocked your grandma so much, like passed out in something? Sarah can drive. It's possible. It's also possible that the burglar is doing this to get under my skin, I say. Or that aliens are doing it as some sort of experiment. Anything is possible, but that doesn't mean it's real, okay? But the next instant, the doll's eyes glow red, and that terrible voice calls out, "He is next!" The voice reverberates through my skull, ringing in my ears, and causing me to drop to my knees. I clasp my hands and I clasp my head in my hands and wince against the searing pain. "Yo, dude, what's wrong?" Gareth asks. He drops the doll in my bed and crouches next to me, putting his hands on my shoulders. "Did you hear that?" I gasp. What are you talking about?" "That voice," I say. "That voice said it was coming for you next," and the clown's eyes all glowed red and... "Calm down. I didn't see or hear anything. There were no glowing red eyes and no voice either." He hesitates. "Look at me," a lot more closely than he usually does. Then he asks me the same question everyone else all day. "Are you feeling okay?" I burst. "No, I'm not feeling okay," I say. "I haven't slept, and clowns are stalking me, and everyone seems to think I'm losing my mind. Nothing is okay." Whoa, calm down," he says. And I hate how much being told to calm down makes me do anything, but I'm not accusing you or anything. It's just you aren't looking so good. I let out a deep breath. "What do you mean?" "I mean, you look like you might be getting sick." "I feel fine," I say. I push off his comforting hand and stand up. The first place I took in is my bed. Sure enough, the clowns are gone. I point. "There. Believe me? That wasn't Sarah." Gareth's eyes go wide. He glances to the closest bedroom door. It's been shut the entire time, and I was the only one on the floor for a few minutes, but there was no one else in here. He whispers. "Exactly," I say. "We gotta find them." My stomach curls. "Good luck," I reply. He begins rummaging through my room, trying to find any hint of the clowns. I don't bother joining him. I know that he won't find anything. The clown dolls only let themselves be seen when they want to be seen. Instead, I look to the small mirror hanging above my dresser. I hate to admit it, but he's right. I look terribly. There are dark shadows under my eyes, and my skin looks waxy. The current in my stomach turns to ice. I'm starting to look exactly like Grandma. It's this what happened to her? Something rustled outside my window. I look out to see a shape silhouetted in the glass, hanging from my windowsill, 5 stories above ground. A single clown, the one I had originally picked up from Grandma's room and hidden in Sarah's bed. The one wearing striped satin with big eyes and bigger smile. Now those eyes burn red. "He is next," the clown warns. "Then I will come for your family, and when they are all mine, I will come for you." Then I blink and the clown is gone. Chapter 25. "I don't think it's safe for you to stay here," I say to Gareth. He just combed through my entire room. As expected, he hasn't found a single clown. He flops down on the bed beside me. "Video games are definitely out for the night." "What are you talking about?" he asks. I tell him what the clowns outside my window said. The moment the words leave my lips, he leaps from the bed and rushes over to the window, yanking it open. "You should have said something," he says. When he closes it, there's nothing there. "You wouldn't have seen it if I did," I reply. I flop back to the bed and stare at the ceiling. They're toying with me, but if you're next. Gareth has this certain expression he gets when he's been stubborn. His jaw goes tight and his eyebrows furrow a little bit. And that's what he's doing right now. "If I'm next," he says, "then wouldn't it make sense to stay the night with a friend rather than going home at night alone to sleep in an empty bedroom where anything can get me? I might not even make it there." I know he says that last bit as a joke, but the large part of me wonders if it's true. It might be safer than here," I say, "where there have been multiple known possessed clown doll sightings. Just means we know what we're dealing with," he says, matter-of-factly. "But look, why don't we sleep in shifts or something? You sleep for 3 hours and me. That way we each can get a few REM cycles, and your parents don't kill me for keeping you up all night. I don't think I can sleep, I say. You look like you'll pass out at any moment. I know I should tell him my fear is that I'm somehow being drained like Grandma was. I just don't want him worrying about me any more than he already is. I don't want him continuously asking me if I'm okay. It's more exhausting than not sleeping. Instead, I pretend to yawn. Maybe you're right, I say. I'll sleep first. You play some games. Set an alarm so we could switch. Roger that, he says. He grins. Don't worry. I'll make sure no clowns get you in the night. That's not what I'm worried about, I think. Even though it's way too early to go to bed, I change into pajamas and get under the covers. Gareth turns off the light and loads the video game and headphones on. I curl up so I'm facing him. At the TV, I tell myself I'm going to watch him the entire time. I'm not going to fall asleep and leave him at risk. I tell myself I'm going to stay up the entire night, just to be sure. I fall asleep immediately. Chapter 26. I walk down Grandma's entryway, and I know I'm in a dream. I know, because every time I turn my head, the world sways and blurs a little. The objects rearrange as if they're forgotten where they were supposed to be in real life. And every time I turn my head, I see flashes of red from the clown eyes. I can't quite make out, even though I know they watch me from the shadows. Their laughter, their skittering footprints follow my every move. My feet lead me towards the hall. At the far end, Grandma's bedroom door is ajar, just like it was when I saw her drained and immobile. Only this time, a sickly red light drips from the door. Red like the clown's eyes, red like blood. I don't want to go in there, but I don't have a choice. My feet guide me while clown dolls chase and tease around my legs. I look down, but all I see are thick shadows and flashes of red eyes and white teeth. Closer, comes the ghost terrible voice from inside the room. Come closer. I do, even though every nerve in my body screams to turn around and run back. When I finally reach the door, my feet pause, glue themselves to the ground. It's my arm that takes on a life of its own. I reach up and push the door open further. If I wasn't dreaming, I would scream. Red light fills the room, glowing from the hundreds of clown eyes staring down at every shelf. These clowns aren't the cheerful figures from the waking world. Instead, their eyes are sharp and evil, their teeth razors. Whoa. Their smile turns to scowls. They all stare straight at the bed, but I'm not staring at them. Instead, my vision is stuck on the shadow figurine in front of me. It looks like a frozen whirlwind of black ink. A TV screen flickers. A clawed hand of gnarled feet. Deep within that shadowy mass is a silhouette. Oh my gosh. Silhouette. A man. I can just make out the outline. I can just make out the red of his eyes. The spirit floats in the center of the room. Then it flickers, and it is right in front of me, only inches away, and try to leap back. I can't move. Soon, the spirit growls. Soon I will be free. Soon I will take what's mine. It reaches out its hand, its nails like daggers, and stretches towards my face. The moment it reaches the space within the door frame, orange light shatters across the space, like the invisible electric wall, a force field, or a spell. Soon I will be free, but until then, it pulls back its hand and flickers once more, returns to its spot in the center of Grandma's bedroom, right above her bed. I think that's it. I hope it's over. Instead, the clown dolls in the room all turn their heads, oh so slowly, and look at me. Their evil grins widen. One by one, they leap from the perches, crowding on the floor. They skitter towards me, cackling, calling while the shadowed spirit laughs. It's only then I realize I can move. I stumble back, trying vainly to get away, but the hall suddenly stretches on forever. The clowns push through the magical barrier and race towards me. Tiny hands grasp my ankles, tiny teeth bite into my shins. I can only let out a scream before the tide of clowns wash over me and pulls me down to the darkness. Chapter 27. I know something's wrong the moment I wake up. Gareth is curled up in my beanbag chair, a blanket tangled around him. The game is still on, paused mid-battle, and the controller at his feet. But that's not what has my attention. Even though his skin is waxy and he's muttering in his sleep as if scared, he has reason to be. Around him, circled like lions around the injured gazelle, or a dozen clowns, ceramic figurines and glass statues, satin dolls, and even a clown teddy bear. They're all staring at Gareth as he sleeps, some with hands outstretched as if grabbing at him. Their smiles are twisted, their eyes set in concentration. Even in the sunlight, I swear I see those eyes glow. I stumble out of bed and knock the clowns out of the way. Gareth doesn't stir as the figurines roll away on the carpet, or as I kick the teddy bear into a pile of clothes. He doesn't move at all. His eyes are closed tight. The sweat beats his brow. He seems to be writhing against something. "Hey, wake up," I whisper. I have no clue what time it is, but it's before my alarm goes off, so we haven't missed the school or anything. He doesn't wake. Instead, he groans again and rolls over, curling into an even tighter ball. I grab his shoulder and give him a shake, repeatedly, a bit louder. "Come on, wake up," he reminds me way too much of the way Grandma looked. When I looked around, the dolls are all gone. Barely. He opened his eyes. What? He asks. His voice is cursive, scratchy. He doesn't actually look at me when he opens his eyes. I don't tell him he had been surrounded by dolls. I don't want to scare him when he looks this sick. "You were having a nightmare," I say. "Are you feeling okay?" I put my hand on his forehead. His skin is cold and clampy. No, he says. So tired. His eyes flatter shut. "You were supposed to wake me up," I say, even as I What the heck? I say, even as I berate myself. "Well, you weren't supposed to fall asleep. You were supposed to watch him to keep him safe." Because even though it was a dream, I still remember every moment of the dream. That terrible shadow creature of horde of clowns. Even if I hadn't awoken to see him surrounded by clowns, I would have no doubt that Gareth is suffering because of it. "Didn't mean to," he mutters. "Just quick nap." I can hear other people wake in the house. My alarm goes off. "You really don't look so good," I say. "I'll go get my mom." He doesn't respond, so I rush from the room and head to the kitchen. Sarah stops me along the way. "What's the rush, jerk?" she says clearly. She's still upset. "Gareth, he's sick." "It better not be contagious," she says, holding up her hand and stepping out of my way. "Only if you're targeted by the clowns, I think." 20 minutes later, Gareth's dad is in the apartment and picking Gareth up like a rag doll from the floor of my bed. "We'll take him to the doctor," his dad assures me, "but he probably got caught the flu or something. That's what happens when you stay up all night gaming. You need to sleep. It's good for you." He looks at me pointedly, and I know there's no use telling him we didn't play games all night. He wouldn't believe the truth. I barely do. I watch them go. Gareth's head is resting against my dad's chest despite all the movement. Gareth has woken up since I forced him awake. "Is he going to be all right?" Genevieve asks. I jump. I didn't hear her come up to me. "I hope so," I reply. "Is it the clowns?" Genevieve whispers. "Yes," I look at her. "You haven't heard or seen anything, have you? Like you aren't being targeted?" She shakes her head. "I thought they were just coming after you." "So did I say, but I was wrong." Chapter 28. It's hard to focus at school, partly because even though I slept, I'm so exhausted, I feel like I'm sleepwalking, and partly because when my brain is working, all I'm able to think about is Gareth. One more person to feel guilty about. one more person to worry about. I'd asked Mom before leaving how Grandma was doing, and all she said was stable. I know that means she isn't getting worse, which is good, but also means she isn't getting any better. It's still up to me to help her, help them, but I'm no closer to finding out how. It doesn't help that everywhere I turn there are clowns. Another 3 ceramic clowns rest inside my locker when I get to school. One small satin doll is hiding in my gym shoes. 2 porcelain figurines peer out at me from behind the lunch counter. Dozens watch from the classroom windows. I ignore them. So far, they haven't done anything to hurt me, but I know they are there. I know they are watching. The memory of them attacking in my dream still feels like reality. At any point of time, they could strike, and there will be nothing I can do to stop them. Which means by the time the day is over, I'm even more tired than I was this morning. I can barely keep my eyes open as I tread from my locker. Another clown has been sitting atop my books, smiling wickedly at front of the school to wait for Genevieve and our bus. The only consolation I have as I wait for her on the front steps is that I haven't heard the terrible spirit voice again. Minutes pass, I check my phone. Our bus will be here any moment, and Genevieve still hasn't arrived, which is strange. She usually is early. I'm about to turn around to get her when I see Mom's car pull up. Sarah's in the driver's seat. What are you doing here? I ask as she rolls the window. Pick you up, she says. She doesn't sound happy about it. Why? Because I'm being nice, she replies, and because Mom is making me. Get in. I'm too tired to argue, even though a small part of me wants to turn around and walk to the bus, just to make a point. Even though I don't really know what the point would be, I get in. What's wrong? I ask the moment I'm buckled up. Genevieve isn't feeling well, she replies. She looks at me, then pulls out a parking spot. She came home early. My blood goes cold. Any animosity I had towards Sarah vanishes. What's wrong with her? I ask. Just sick, she replies. No fever or anything, but she's super tired. Mom thinks she's got whatever Gareth has, which is why she wanted me to drive you home. Didn't want you infecting anyone on the bus. You think I'm sick? She glances over at me and raises an eyebrow. You look like the Walking Dead, she replies. Only they're more animated. I chuckle. Just like that, I know the whole episode about the clowns yesterday is forgotten. Or at least she no longer mad at me. The laughter is short-lived because as we drive, a heavy thread falls over me. Grandma and Gareth and Genevieve are all sick. The spirit said it wanted my family. Will Sarah be next? Mom? Dad? I can't let anyone else get hurt. I need to stop this now. For that, I need Sarah's help. I need to go to the hospital, I say. Are you feeling sick? She asks, her voice suddenly panicking. No, I say. No, not that. It's just, I need to see Grandma. Dude, the whole point of me bringing you home is to keeping you from affecting anyone else other than your unlucky family member like Moe. I'm not infectious. And if you're really that worried, I'll wear a mask. It's just, I'm really worried about her. We pause at the stoplight as she gives me a searching look. Why do I get the feeling that that's not the only reason, she asks. Because it isn't, I admit. But if I tell you the truth, you'll think I'm lying. Please, Sarah. I'm worried that if I don't talk to her, what happened to her will happen to Genevieve. The lights turning. She starts to go. I desperately try not to notice the clowns sitting atop of the streetlight like crows. No one else seems to see them. This isn't another prank, she asks for a while. No, I'm serious, she sighs. Okay. Just don't tell Mom or Dad. They'll kill me. And yes, you're wearing a mask. Chapter 29. I don't know what's more surprising, the fact that Sarah and I are able to get in to visit Grandma without any issue, or the fact that I don't see a single clown in the entire hospital. The absence is eerie. It should make me feel free, but instead it honestly makes me feel like I'm being watched even closer. I almost preferred it when I could see them staring at me. The fear is pushed from my head to the moment we are shown into Grandma's room. She doesn't look like she did when I found her. She looks worse, much worse. There are IVs in her arms and monitors beeping away beside her. Her skin almost looks translucent under the harsh light. Hasn't woken up since she came in. The nurse says she has shows us in, but you're welcome to sit with her for a while. Thank you, Sarah replies. I can't find the words to say anything. Instead, I flop down on the plastic chair beside her and watch her sleep. I want to take her hand, but I'm terrified that if I touch her, she'll just wither away and deflate like a pop balloon. So, I keep my hands clasped in my lap and try not to cry. This is my fault. This is my fault. Grandma, I whispered. She can't hear you, Sarah says. I don't care, I reply. I don't look away from Grandma's face. Did her eyelids flutter? Or was my imagination? Grandma, can you hear me? You heard the nurse? She hasn't. Grandma moans and rolls her head. Oh my gosh, she heard you, Sarah says. She hurries over and kneels at my side. Grandma, can you hear me? It's me, Sarah. Grandma's eyes flutter open. Sarah? Grandma's eyes focus on me. Her attention snaps. Victor? She tries to get up, but Sarah gently pushes her back down. You need to rest, Grandma. Don't get up. I must keep him contained. Her eyes flutter again, and she falls back against her pillow. For a moment, I'm terrified she already passed out again. Or worse, contain him? Sarah asks. Contain who? Mordeth. Grandma whispered, her eyes open. But she doesn't look at me or Sarah. She stares at the ceiling and stares in silent cry. He's nearly free. What are you talking about? Sarah asks. She looks from Grandma to me. What is she talking about? I think I know. I lean forward to take Grandma's hand. She looks to me, then her eyes are filled in terrible despair. You have to help Grandma. Help me, Grandma, I say. He's after me, after all of us. How do I stop it? Sarah gives me a confused look. What are you talking about? Who's after us? The dolls. It's not me, but Grandma who says it. The clown dolls? They contain him? Sarah's eyes go wide. Thankfully, Grandma keeps talking. Whatever strength she has left, it's clear she's using it up now. They must be returned. Only then will he be bound. Returned? Back to your room? Her eyes shut. Grandma, I press. Grandma, what happens if I don't return them? What happens if Mordeth breaks free? She doesn't answer. Instead, she gives one long, terrible cry of pain. Then she falls back into a heavy sleep. Wow. Chapter 30. We sit there in silence for a while, watching her heart monitor steadily beep, watching her chest rise and fall. At least she's alive for now. If I don't manage to get the clowns back into her room, I don't know how much longer she'll have. What was that all about? Sarah asks me. You wouldn't believe me if I told you, I say. I start to stand, but she reaches up and grabs me. No, you don't get to do that. What was she talking about? Who or what is Mordeth? And what does it have to do with clown dolls? I look at her. For the first time in a long time, there is an expression that says she's ready to believe me. She actually looks a little lost, and it feels strange that she's turning to me for clarity. Then I mention the clown in my locker the other day. I say, that wasn't a prank, it was real. I've been followed by clowns that Grandma had hidden in her bedroom. What? Why? I lower my eyes. I wanted to scare you when you went to band practice and left Genevieve and me alone. I was going to plant one of the clowns under your pillow, and I did. But then it ran off. I think that's what started it. Now all the clowns that were in Grandma's bedroom are gone, and it sounds like we have to put them back. Otherwise, I look to Grandma. Otherwise, what's happening to her will happen to Gareth and Genevieve and eventually all of us. This doesn't make any sense, Sarah protests. This is real life. There isn't such thing as evil spirits and haunted clown dolls or whatever. I want that to be true, I say. I look at her very seriously, but it isn't. This is real. You heard Grandma. We have to put the dolls back. Sarah opens her mouth and protests. Then she looks from me to Grandma. You really think this will happen to Genevieve? Sarah whispered. Yeah, and Gareth and everyone else in our family if we don't stop this. She takes a deep breath. I really wish this was all a bad joke. Me too. She closes her eyes and nods. Okay then. How many are there? Hundreds, I say. Of course there are, she says. Just my luck. Chapter 31. Sarah and I deceive a plan on the drive home. It's not much, but it's all we have, and honestly, it's a miracle that she believes me. It's also a miracle that she's willing to put herself at risk. At first, I don't think it's going to work. Then a block from home, she slams on the brakes. Is that? She begins. She points at the tree on the opposite corner to where a clown is hiding, watching her from the mischief screen. Yeah, I say. He knows you're aware of them now. You're a target. Great, she says. Just great. She keeps driving. I notice her hands are tight on the wheel, and she doesn't blink. Not until we've parked. We go through the evening as normal. Oh my gosh, that's funny. As we can. We both check on Genevieve every half an hour. Our little sister is curled up in the bed, and I swear she looks worse every time I see her. We have to work fast for her sake and Gareth's. We also have to work fast for Sarah, because as the night wears on, it becomes clear she's seeing the clowns just as much as I am. She continuously holds back, gasps, and screams when opening the cupboards or staring at the window. Even she starts to look tired from always being on alert, and she's only been aware of it for a few hours. Either that or the spirit, Mordeth, is getting much, much stronger. I nearly forgot. Sarah says after dinner, I have band practice tonight. Just make sure you're home before 10, Mom says. Can I go, I ask? Mom raises an eyebrow. Please, I press. I finished all my homework, but you might be contagious. If I am, so is she, I say. We drove home together, after all. Mom sighs heavily. He has a point, Sarah says. She does her best to sound grumpy, and not like this was her idea, after all. Not that I wanted the twerp around, but it might be good for us to practice in front of an audience before the show. Don't worry, I'll tell you if your music bites, I say. See what I mean? Sarah says. Mom considers fine. She says, finally, but in that case, home by 9, got it? And you better have gotten all your homework done, mister. If I find out you were lying, you're grounded. I nod, relieved, and try not to show it. Also, Mom says, if either of you start feeling sick, you come home immediately. I don't want you giving the rest of the band anything, and you aren't performing if you're ill. Got it, Mom, Sarah says. I'm sure no one else will get sick. 10 minutes later, after we've helped clean the dishes, Sarah and I are in the car and heading towards Alex's for practice, but to Grandma's. Are you sure this is going to work? She asks. It's the first time she sounds nervous during all this, which makes me nervous. But it's not nerves that it won't work. I'm nervous that the first part of our plan will work too well. I'm pretty certain, I say. I nod out the window. We're at another red light, and when Sarah looks over, she sees what I'm staring at. Half a dozen clowns dangling from the trees, hanging like monkeys in the park. Their red eyes glare at us. There are more of them than before, Sarah says. She shudders. They know you're afraid of them, I say, and they like it. She doesn't say anything to that. It's not good feeling to know that your fearing makes something hungry. We park outside Grandma's house. Even though the sky is still a little light, it feels colder and darker. The air feels wrong. I start to get out of the car, but Sarah doesn't budge. What is it? I ask. Look. I look to where she's staring. The clowns are everywhere. They perch in the trees and hiding behind the fire hydrants. Some peer from the car or house windows. Others glare up from the gutters. Everywhere we turn, there are clown dolls, including the ones that started the whole thing. It sits in front of Grandma's door, smiling at us passively, welcoming us to our doom. If anything goes wrong in there, Sarah begins. I cut her off. Nothing will go wrong. But it might. And you have to listen to me because I'm your big sister. If anything goes wrong, you leave. You run home and make Mom believe you. And then you take Genevieve to the hospital and she trails off. We both know that there's no alternative ending to this. We both know that if this fails, we're all doomed, no matter what. The doctors can't save us. Our parents can't save us. No one but us. Let's go, I say. Sarah nods and tears her eyes away. From the clown, she grabs her guitar case from the back seat, and I sling on my backpack. Together, we walk into Grandma's house. The clown's eyes follow us the entire way. Chapter 32. It feels far too much like a dream. The lightning is harsh and tinged with red. And just like before, I feel my footsteps pull me forward. It's time, however, I'm able to resist them. Sarah and I both pause in the living room and look around. It's eerie silence. One of Grandma's friends took the cats to her house, so the cats aren't around, but we still don't feel alone. The hundreds of dolls of artifacts Grandma's collected over the years, the ones that don't have anything to do with clowns, glare down at us. Their eyes are accusing. It feels like they all know we did what I unleashed, and they're angry for it. What now? Sarah asks. Now we act, I replied. I know the clowns won't go into the bedroom, not on their own. Are you ready? I ask. No, she replies, but let's do this anyways. For the record, clowns still really, really freak me out. I know, I say. Before I can talk myself out of it, I turn around to go back to the front door. The clowns are still there. It isn't alone. The good 50 clown dolls are arranged on Grandma's front steps. It looks like they froze mid-climb, their arms rising and faces trained on the door. A frightening photograph, but it's real life. I want to scream and slam the door to their terrifying faces. Instead, I lean over and pick up their original clown doll. It nearly burns my skin, but I don't drop it. I bring it inside. I don't close the door behind me. What are you doing with that? Sarah asks loudly. She takes a step backward, and although this was all part of the plan, I still feel bad as I rise the doll up to her face. Get it away from me. But it wants to play with you. Come on, don't tell me you're scared. She takes another step back and stumbles against Grandma's coffee table, nearly tripping over it. Victor, stop it, please. This isn't funny. Yes, it is, I say. After all you've done to me, this is hilarious. Her eyes go wide as she looks over my shoulder. I don't turn around. I don't need to. I can feel the clown dolls swarming into the room behind me. I still don't know precisely what Mordeth wants or how this will all works, but it seems that he deals in fear. He picked off my friend and family, used their fear to drain them. He's been slowly draining me as well, keeping me awake, forcing me to always wonder where and when another clown doll would appear. If he wants fear, Sarah can give it to him. Like she said, clowns still really freak her out. Victor, please, she says, keep it away from me. Don't you want to play? I ask. I'm done playing. I'm sorry for leaving you alone. I'm sorry for everything. Just please make this stop. Make them all go away. There are so many of them. I turn then and look. She's right. There are hundreds of dolls in the room, jostling for space among knickknacks and figurines. They pile up on the sofa, cram into the bookshelves. I don't see any more of them outside. You're right, I say, turning back to her. It's time. They're all here. That's the cue immediately. I race back to the front door, slamming it shut and locking it tight. The moment I do, Sarah leaps into action and yanks open her instrument case, revealing dozens of garbage bags. She starts grabbing every doll she can find, stuffing them into the garbage. I'm right behind her. I yank out the plastic bags I'd hide in my own backpack. Up until now, the dolls just appear and disappeared. I never saw them move, save for turning them heads or smiling. Now that's no longer the case. They come alive. They don't want to be caught. My skin crawls as the clown dolls swarm up the shelves like spiders or ants, scurrying over Grandma's priceless artifacts and knocking them to the ground. I leap out of the way as a large vase falls, where I'd just been standing, then grab it for the ceramic clown that tries to leap past me. It struggles in my hands as I shove it in the bag, thrashing against the plastic. I grab another that tries to race past my feet. My vision is a blur of scuttling clowns, my breath harsh in my chest as I race after them. My breathing is hard and my lungs hurt, like I run a mile in a gym, and I know deep down it's not, because my unused of this sort of cardio isn't, because Mordeth has started to drain me too. My arms feel like I'm struggling through the water, but I keep going. My trash bag blunch as I shove more fighting clowns. My arms are covered in scratches and tiny bite marks. I hear Sarah grunting and yelping as the clowns fight her off, but she's tougher than me, which is why when she yells out, my blood goes cold. I look over to see her covered in clowns that scratch and kick her. Her trash bag is forgotten at her side, and more clowns are spilling out. I run over with my bag and start yanking clowns off of her. They kick and scream in my hands, but soon Sarah is up and helping as well. Being attacked seems to give her a renewed strength. She throws the clowns in the bag with full force, yelling every time. I'm pretty certain she breaks half of them. Thanks, she huffs. No problem, I reply, grabbing the clown from the top shelf and throwing it in another bag. Soon the living room is filled with plunging bags, each of them swarming and ruffling as the clowns within try to break free. We prepped the triple bags, so that's not happening. Is that all of them? Sarah asks, she huffing and puffing, but she isn't nearly as winded as I am. I lean against the wall, barely able to stay upright. I look around the room. It's easy to see every bit of the space now. The clowns destroyed everything. It looks like the tornado swept through. Guilt twists in my stomach, as well as a small note of relief. I think that's all of them, I say. Okay then, she replies. Let's drag them into the bedroom and get this over with. No, I reply. I started this. I think I have to be the one ended it. But you stay out here. Keep watch. Make sure we didn't miss any. She opens her mouth and protests, then closes it. You sound like an older sibling now. I grin. At least I don't look like it. She sticks out her tongue. Then, before I can change my mind, I grab some of the bags and begin hauling them into the bedroom. I fully expect to feel something as I cross the threshold to Grandma's bedroom. The shiver of energy, the jolt of cold, or a wave of heat, but I don't feel anything. I toss in the first few bags, then go back and grab the others. Sarah watches me silently, her arms wrapped around her chest like she's hugging herself or trying to hold herself back from helping. In no time at all, I hold the final bag in my hand. It swarms under my grip. Here we go, I tell Sarah. Last one. I just hope this works, she says. Me too, I reply. I haul the last bag to the bedroom and toss it into Grandma's bed. Nothing happens. I stand there surrounded by all these bags of clowns, and I realize there's no longer moving or swarming. The house is completely silent. I did it. I think it is over, I whisper. Is that it? I beat passes. Still, hear nothing. I wait a few moments, fear slowly replaced by relief. Finally, I let out a huge sigh. We did it. We put back the clown dolls. Everyone is going to be okay. I turn to leave the room, and just as I do, I hear a terrible booming voice. Only it's not coming from the bags or the bedroom. It's coming from the living room, from where Sarah is. You didn't really think it would be that easy, did you? Growls the voice. The next moment, the bedroom door slams shut and Sarah begins to scream. Chapter 33. Sarah! I called out, banging my fist to the door. Victor! She yells back. Help! But her yells aren't all I hear. Behind me, the room interrupts with maniacally cackles. I turn into horror to see the clowns bursting from their bags. Their eyes glow red and their mouths are filled with sharp sharpened teeth. They've trapped myself in here with them, just as I've trapped Sarah in the house with Mordeth. This whole thing has been a trap all along. Just like in my dream, the clowns swarm after me, scuttling like ants and grabbing me with their tiny gloved hands. I kick and shove, trying vainly to knock them away, but there are too many. I cry out in pain as they begin biting my legs, clawing at my skin. This is not how I want to go. Stumble backwards, tripping over a clown and landing on my back. Instantly they are on me. They bite and scratch and claw, and no matter how much I thrush about, I can't get them all off of me. They pile on top of me, pressing the breath my lungs and covering my eyes, so all I could see is darkness, the glowing red eyes. The energy starts to leave me. I've lost. This is my fault. The prank gone wrong. I deserve to be punished for it. I feel myself letting go, feel my body shutting down. The clowns have won. Mordeth has gotten the last laugh. As the darkness closes in and Sarah's screams fade from hearing, I feel myself sinking, feel the weight of my bad decision pressing my life out of me. And then I hear her, Genevieve. Her voice is distant. Angelic. I have a hallucinating her because she's at home sick, fading, relying on me to save her, even though I failed. Except rather than fading, her voice gets louder, yelling. Call out, then light. Get away from my brother, Genevieve yells. More dolls are batted away to the side, and I can see it now. Can see my younger sister standing above me, a baseball bat in her hand. It's her. It's really her. She keeps hiding and kicking away the dolls, and now that some of are off me, I'm able to thrush the rest of them off myself. I manage to push myself to standing, and she throws another baseball bat towards me. I grab it, and together we knock the rest of the dolls down. Some shatter, some just scurry away, others try to fight back. Ceramic dolls leap at my face, and when I swing my bat, they explode in clouds of dust. Fabric dolls climb up Genevieve's leg, but she swings her bat like a golf club and sends them flying. What are you doing here? I ask, and as I knock back the clowns and leap from atop the dresser. Saving your butt, she replies. She kicked another small clown away. I thought you were sick, I say. That was a fake out, she replies. She smashes another doll away. After Gareth got sick, I figured they'd either come for me or Sarah next, and I knew that would make you try to find the way to solve things and ended up needing my help. So I hid in my room and listened when you left, and I snuck out. How did you get in? I asked. I kicked away the trio of glass dolls that had been trying to climb up my leg. The doors are locked, the windows. She tried nodding in the bedroom window right before hitting the ceramic doll off the shelf. You didn't lock this one, but I did. Behind me. We keep smashing away clowns as we speak, but no matter how many we knock down or break, more keep coming. We can't keep going like this, I say. We have to get to Sarah. Is she in the living room? Genevieve asks. Yeah, but the door is jammed or something. I bet we can get it together, but we have to hurry. I don't hear Sarah anymore. We bash aside another wave of clowns and then start working on the door. Together we give it one big pull and manage to yank it open. We rush into the hall and slam the door shut behind us. Here, Genevieve says. She pulls a skeleton key out of her pocket and locks the door, then hands the key to me. I took it from Grandma's purse just in case. You are full of surprises, I say. She grins but goes serious immediately. Speaking of surprises, she says and nods down the hall. I look to see the original clown standing at the far end, life-sized, almost human. It smiles widely. When it sees us and waves, you made it out. It says, now we can really have some fun. Oh, wow. Chapter 34. The clown races forward, moving faster than should be possible. It lunges towards us and Genevieve, and I ducked out of the way just in time. Genevieve screams out as the clown swipes at her head, but she dodges the darts off towards the living room. Leave my sisters alone, I yell out, swinging the bat at the back of its head with all my might. The clown spins on the spot and catches the bat with one clawed hand. Its smiling widens its eyes deep glowing red. It's not your sisters I'm after. It says it's you I want. Its fingers tighten on the bat and easily crush the part of its holding to dust. I drop the rest of the bat to the floor and run to the living room. What I find is almost more terrifying than the clown itself. Sarah is passed out on the sofa. Her skin is pale as Grandma's and her breath shallow. At least I don't see any more wounds. Instead, she looks drained. The point to death. Genevieve kneels at Sarah's side, tears in her eyes. She won't wake up, Genevieve sobs. Get her out of here, I reply. Call the ambulance. But get her out of this house, Genevieve nods, and together we begin to lift Sarah from the sofa. We don't get far. Now, the clown, Morris says. Why would I let you go when I finally have the whole set? The tower's in the hallway, its head now brushing the ceiling. Its arms are bent and broken, its face cordented and filled with razor-like teeth. What do you want from us? I yell. Freedom, Mordeth growls. It takes a slow, menacing step closer. For generations, I have been contained within this doll, passed down through your family like a toy. Did you know? Did you know your grandmother and your grandmother before her was a witch, and that one you would one day follow in her footsteps? My eyes go wide. I look to Genevieve. She stares back at the clown with anger clear to her face. I was growing stronger, Meredith continues. And your grandmother knew it. She split my soul into hundreds of pieces and bounded them to various dolls. Then she contained those dolls in her room. She weakened me, but she did not destroy me. All I needed was for someone to bring me past the barrier. All I needed was you. Mordeth's eyes burn into me, spearing me to the spot. I was right. This is all my fault. Once you brought one of the dolls out, the spell was broken, and I was free. But I still require energy. I require your fear. In haunting your relatives and friends, I could draw their life's force into me. Your elder sister has nearly refilled my strength. Mordeth turns to deadly gaze at Genevieve. Now I require the fear of only one more, and I will be unstoppable. It leaps towards Genevieve like a spider monkey, knocking her to the floor and ensnaring her there. Its mouth opens wide, cackling, splitting, revealing a cauled tongue and dripping green saliva. Genevieve screams. I don't know what comes over me. I run towards the clown and batter into like a linebacker. The clown barely budges, but my actions catch it by surprise, diverts its attention. It stands, momentarily releasing Genevieve. It turns its terrifying gaze on me. I wanted to save you for last, to savor your fear at the height of my power. But that's need not happen. It lunges towards me, knocking over Grandma's sofa and sending even more knickknacks to the floor. I run out of the way, darting to the other side of the room and wincing at the sound of the breaking china. I know I have to end this. I know I have to be fast before the clown ends me. That means getting it back into Grandma's bedroom. But how? Victor, Genevieve calls out. I look over a second later. She tosses me one of Grandma's knitted blankets. The clown races towards me, and I turn to face it. It roars so loud, my bones ache, and the room shakes. I roar back and run straight for it. This takes the clown by surprise, just for the moment, just enough time for me to leap into the air with the blanket held high, the net monster and wrap it tight. Genevieve is right beside me, yanking out more blankets and binding them around the clown. It howls and thrashes. This can't hold, I say. It doesn't have to, she yells back. Just get it to the bedroom. Together we push the clown down the hall. It struggles against us, but we manage together, and nearly to the door when one of its hands rips out from the blanket and grabs my arm. If I can't escape, neither will you, it roars. I don't know what it means until Genevieve kicks open the door. The clown dolls are out of control. They writhe around the room like ants, clawing and gnawing their teeth. I know if I stepped in there, they will tear me apart. I also know I don't have a choice. Victor, you can't, Genevieve says, tears in her eyes. I have to, I reply. I love you, twerp. Before she can protest, I shove the clown and myself into the bedroom. The door slams shut behind me, and the next thing I know, my vision darkens, and I am overtaken by clowns. I will see you guys in the last chapter for 35 in the next video.